Joining us now here on In the Circle at D1 Softball. She is one of the greats of all time at Cal State Fullerton as a player, multiple-time All-American, is all-time leader in runs scored as a player, was Coach of the Year last year as a head coach of the Big West, and entering her second year as Fullerton head coach, coming off a regular season championship and 37 wins. We speak of Gina Garcia joining us here for the first time. Quite a resume you got as a player and as a coach combined there, huh?
Well, thank you. I had a lot of really cool coaches, and my dad being one of them early on when my brother was playing baseball and fell in love with the sport and the game and just loved to practice. So that's why you see, I think, the resume, just the hard work and everybody just pouring into me. And now I get to return the favor. So thanks for having me.
Let's talk about, obviously, you're entering your second season as the head coach of the program, of your alma mater. What did you learn from year one that you now know going into year two and beyond?
Yeah, I just think it's really cool to be, back in my alma mater, full circle moment, obviously, being able to, be recruited by legendary Judy Garman, coached by Coach Gramacki, coached by Coach Ford, and now, got to really learn under Coach Ford for the year that, prior to me getting the job. And just when you have those kind of leaders and mentors prior to, and just getting to also add your spin on it, and just from year one to year two, just team first mentality, right? We don't change that. The grind that we have here at Fullerton, the culture, the family, just everything it brings. Southern California can't beat that. I mean, it's just a special place to be at, to work at, and just to get these athletes here firing on all cylinders. It's just easy to do at a place like this. So,
Yeah, you just a great point. I mean, you have seen it all from the program. You're connected with all the head coaches recently there. That's an amazing connection to have. You bleed this program's colors and blood. What's that like to be around all the history and the tradition and now being in charge of it?
yeah, it's just when I really take a moment and just reflect and just literally can see my 16, 17-year-old self, saying yes to Cal State Fullerton, to Judy Garman, and just seeing, what she brought, the standards that she had at Cal State Fullerton, and then to see, Coach Gramacki elevate it, Coach Ford, and then now me being able to do the same thing and just, like I said, be in my own, era, if you will, with just, kind of how I want to help traject it even more. It's just pretty powerful. But yeah, I mean, I can't say enough amazing things about the women that have been here before, and the alumni that has been through here. It's just always been a force to be reckoned with here at Cal State Fullerton, and just to have, yeah, be the leader of the program is just everything to me. And so I can't thank them enough too for being there for me as mentors as well. So.
All right, let's talk last season. You won 37 games, won the regular season title. I know it didn't end the way you'd have liked in the conference tournament, but now you've had time to reflect. What comes to your mind from last season?
Yeah, last season it was a great season. We had some success early on, beating some ranked opponents, and just seeing that that Titan way, right? It's like, what? Okay, yes, we are just that blue collar team that's going to always put the work in and has the ability to beat anybody on any given day. And just to see that early on was incredible. I think just the energy that we have as a team, the atmosphere that we have with our parents and our fans is just truly great. But just yeah, like you said it, we came up short, and that was definitely not written up in the plan as far as we can see. And just when we were playing in the Big West, really, I think we were 19-2, and just did not see that last weekend coming the way it did. But we learned from it, right? That's what you can do. You got to process it, reflect on it. You don't have to like it in the moment, but now, okay, how do we stay hungry for the next season? And that's really where this team is at this year. It's like, we're not going to fall short. That's not in the plan. That's why today matters. Our fall season is to help us get past that last weekend for the spring. And when you have that mentality and the leadership that we do with our captains, it's fun to see them just grind it out every day, and have everybody on the same page with that.
The thing that stood out for me, kind of looking your roster up, getting ready to talk to you, was I've forgotten how young you were last year as a roster, and you had some injuries that you were dealing with. Now you've got this experience. I know coaches hate this kind of question, but do you feel like in a way you're ahead of schedule based on the youth that you kind of inherited there as the head coach?
Yeah, I really do. I think that we definitely have a lot of just, leadership in the sense that we were so young. We had those freshmen, my first year playing at Stanford, doing a really good job that year. Then last year being able to, okay, they've played under those big moments, those lights, right? And under those circumstances with those top-notch teams. And so I'm just really excited to see, what they can do this year being juniors, right? The first year you're kind of like, I'm trying to figure it out. Then sophomore year, you're kind of like, I think this is how it goes. And then junior year, you just have this like maturity that comes about. And I really think, the majority of our team is going to be more in that upperclassman space. And I think we definitely have some incoming freshmen and sophomores that can also fight for a spot in the lineup. But, there is that maturity that I see, and especially in the circle, right? We have Trisha McCluskey and Leanna Garcia and Eva Hurtado, who did really well last year. And unfortunately, losing Leanna in that previous weekend to the Big West tournament was definitely a setback for us in the circle, but just still very proud of the way that the team performed. But just to know that we have three solid pitchers in them and then two freshmen that came in that will definitely compete. I'm feeling a lot more confident in that space. And, everything really does rise and fall on, what you can do in that circle and how we can be the tone setters. And it's just fun to see that we have that on top of, our, juniors and seniors that really are going to step up this year.
That's it. I mean, it's not many programs can say they returned three veterans who each
Mhm.
have had over 30 plus appearances coming off seasons there. I remember talking to Trisha McCluskey, was a great kid last year, 16 wins last year. You got Eva Hurtado. Just think about this three veterans and what they bring. And does that allow you for the freshmen to kind of go at their own pace as they develop and learn from the veterans?
Yeah, I think they're definitely all there to learn from each other, compete with each other, but also know like we want everybody to win, right? We need each other, right? It's nice to yes, if you have an ace in the circle that can pitch 100 plus innings, but for us, I feel like there's just more tactical stuff that we can do when we have people that can really complement, and I really see that with this staff and just what they're doing on the day to day in the bullpen, and so to have like I said, the returners coming back plus the freshmen coming in to learn from them and just their hard work that they put in. They know they're definitely wanting to compete for some innings, and that's still yet to be determined. It just depends on where those chips lie, if you will. And but I know one thing is they are a staff and they have each other's back, which is really cool to see.
What have you seen from the three veterans coming back? I would imagine there's some extra hunger after the way things ended last season. What have you seen from the three of them? Have you seen noticeable differences on them this fall?
Yeah, there's definitely a maturity. There's definitely a mindset. There's the connection and the correlation that when they're working hard in the bullpen, they know why we're doing it, right? It's kind of like, sometimes when you're a newbie and you're coming in, you're seeing the plan on the sheet and you're just, doing the workout. But when you have a season under your belt and you're like, doing an extra set of something, you're reminding yourself that's for that fifth or sixth inning when maybe I came up short. And there's just more of just that experience, and then just the thought that connects to the workout that I feel like I've seen with this group. And then just being able to play some games in the past couple of weeks, you can see just their overall aura and the way that they're carrying themselves and the way that when they get that strikeout, it's just like I knew that was going to happen instead of hoping it was going to happen. There's just that expectation, and they're ready to fill some shoes like that and take us to the next level and get to that regional, super regional World Series.
Of course, let's talk about the defense. How do you feel how the defense is coming along? Do you see certain players locking up certain spots? I mean, I know there's competition going on, but how do you see the defense so far?
Yeah, the defense is, I would say, is going to be hard to break into, to be honest. I mean, I think we definitely have some freshmen that are right there and some sophomores that are right there, and just everybody comes in with that mentality like they want that spot, right? It's a friendly competition, but we have all of our returning infielders back for the most part, I would say, and even our center field and right field spots, right? Those athletes are still back. Left field was one that was open from one of our seniors that graduated last year, but what I like is that, we have a really versatile team. We're seeing that in our Orange Navy scrimmages. We're seeing that, now that we're playing our fall games, and we can definitely plug some people in and not really skip a beat. But I think there's that experience, that mentality that they've already had the years under their belt. So they might have that one up on them. But there's some moving parts that could happen. But as of right now, it's looking pretty solid in the sense of what we had last year to be able to come up and do the job for sure.
It's a nice luxury to have that many people coming back, catching to help the pitchers as well, which also means you've got a lot back on your offense. How do you feel about the offense here coming into the season? Because you got some talented hitters back.
Yeah, we definitely do. Obviously, we have Ava RC, who broke the RBI single season record with Jenny Topping, who was on staff last year. I mean, that's a feat in itself, and just to have her back and owning that space is pretty cool. We have Colby McClinton. I mean, I could go on. Colby McClinton brings a lot of speed. We got Kate and Sarah Perez, who do it on the left-handed side, can drop a bunt and also hit a gap. And it's fun to see our lineup. Sarah Cosillos, who I think hit, four something in Big West, and Lex Lopez behind the plate. I mean, she packs a punch. So it's like you go around the whole, thinking of last season, to have all of those, bangers back, if you will, is just like you said, it's a luxury, but also knowing that we have freshmen. We have, seven freshmen and a sophomore transfer that came in that also are competing. It's fun to see. And then, returners that are itching at the bit that they want their turn. They want their spot. I mean, that's why they're here. They want to compete. So it's definitely fun at practice to see it, but it'll be exciting to see, who really gets that 9, potentially 10 with the DP spot.
Ava, I'm going to read the numbers here. 409, 12 homers, 62 RBIs. You mentioned her. She breaking. Anytime you mention Jenny Topping, records broken, you've done something. What makes you such a great hitter and great player overall?
You know what? Kudos to my hitting coach, Jamie Juarez, and Trisha Senyo, who does the data analytics and just the technology side of things, the BP, the endless sprint toss, and really just Ava Arce, right? She goes in there, she does not overthink. She knows she is going to take a hack, and that's what she does. She doesn't get cheated. She sees the ball well. Good hitters hit balls. We talk about that, and when you can see a ball over the middle of the plate, and even if it's a little high or a little low, you can still handle it. That's what she does. So the ability to not always hit the perfect pitch. She can hit pretty much anything as long as she's committed to it.
Yeah, she was ranked 47 on the D1 softball top 100 player list last year. So pretty good. High standards there.
Oh yeah.
There. Now you mentioned you have 8 new faces. Give
Yeah.
us a breakdown of the 8 new faces that your fans will get to know and what they bring to the program.
Yeah, so we have, seven freshmen, and they're all versatile. I mean, we have versatility at third base with uh just we have like Leslie, we have, who do we have? We got Jenica, we got Hobbs. I mean, there's tons of just talent coming from top-notch travel ball spaces. We got some speed. Jenica, one of our, like I just mentioned, she just came back from playing on the junior Mexican national team in Oklahoma City. Definitely has the makeup to be one of those players that's fighting for a spot. Gianna, who brings a ton of power to our lineup. So if we need that pinch hitting, gap or potential long ball threat, has been awesome. We have Sophia Newcomb, who came from the D2 space. That's just Sonoma State, and just brings a lot of energy to practice. Like there's not a day that I don't see her diving for a ball and making a spectacular catch. Like it's just really cool to see her doing her thing. Offensively, can drop it, can hit for power, can slap. So to see the speed that we brought in, and really just we have people bouncing around from shortstop, second base, third base to outfield. I mean that I feel like Georgia Rajo does a really good job with our main recruiting liaison to bring those types of players that we can spot in anywhere. And that's what makes us really, really good and really deep. And so kudos to him as well. And just his staff are bringing in amazing talent as well, but just excited to see them. And hey, they can earn their playing time, they'll be in there. There's nothing there's nothing that's holding them back for earning a spot for sure.
How do you balance developing them at their own pace? Because everybody's going to be at their own pace.
Hmm.
But at the same time, there may not be a lot of opportunities because you have so much talent coming back and veterans coming back. How do you do that as a coaching staff?
I think there's a lot of ways you gotta bring the team together, right? And that doesn't just mean it between the lines. So, we're really big on our family vibe, our culture. We actually like to do a lot of things actually with the parents, right? And have them come and just kind of see where we're at as coaches, see what we do on the day to day. I think it's important to see that, and just when the team kind of has the buy-in of the team first mentality, and when they have captains that are they can lean on and ask questions and really understand where we've been and what we're trying to do. And okay, clearly what we did last year was not what we want to repeat this year because we didn't get to where we want to go. So having the mindset and then some, or let's do one more, or that's not going to cut it. If that's what we really want, we can't be complacent. And so you have a blend of these returners that are here, then you have these incoming freshmen that are here. And right now you can just tell the freshmen are definitely starting to get that buy-in of like, this is what Titans softball is about. And that's what's really cool.
It certainly is. Let's talk about you a little bit. Was head coaching a goal? Was this like a dream scenario for you? Did it just play out that way? Like, take me through that from your standpoint, because you mentioned what coaching wise, you're out of it for a little bit. You come back, you help Coach Ford out, then Coach Ford retires. People wonder, and then you get the job. So just take me through that deal. What was this a dream scenario goal of yours, or it just kind of worked out that way?
No, I mean, it definitely was a dream of mine to be here at my alma mater. I remember, honestly, freshman year being a player here at Cal State Fullerton, and, seeing, Coach Gramacki and Terry Schweikert and Dee Dee Wyman, Kingsbury now, like just, putting in the day to day to really mentor and guide. And I thought, wow, they really get to be around this game all the time. They get to really be an impact and serve others. Like, I think what a cool profession. I remember from freshman year on, I was like, I'm going to be a college coach. That's what I want to do. And so I knew early on, and to have the best degree from, Cal State Fullerton with kinesiology, to be able to do that. I knew that was the path for me. So coaching here, I don't know, if you know this, but I did coach here 2 years after I was done playing.
Yep.
And then, I wasn't ready to be done playing myself. I was still young and wanting to get my playing, innings in. And so was really blessed to play, overseas on the USA team, Venezuela a little bit. So career was just incredible. The sport's given me so much. And yeah, I just always knew I wanted to coach. I've always done pitching lessons, group trainings, just always within the sport. I honestly, if I don't do softball after like about 2 days, I'm like, I need to be out of field. Like what's going on, So that's always been a passion of mine. And yeah, to be able to do, get job opportunities out of Azusa Pacific, Loyola Marymount. Like you said, step away for a little bit, started, my husband, Aaron, and I wanted to have a family. And so, yeah, removed myself for a few years, but still definitely stayed in the game with, camps, clinics, lessons, all the stuff given back. And then, when the job opened up at the Claremont colleges, it was a head coaching position. I felt ready, yeah, I was removed for a few years, but I was assisting for, over 10 years. And I was, ready for it to be my time, and for them to give me the opportunity there really clearly helped me come over here, obviously coach under Coach Ford, and then to be able to be in the running for, yes, like you said, my dream job. There's nothing better than it. It's just to have my kids around, my family around, looking out at the field just to see how it's evolved, right? My freshman year, the field was completely a different way. And now it's, we have a locker room that's top notch. We have these beautiful offices and just people that really pour into Titan softball, and the resources. It just makes me a proud alumni and just proud to be the leader.
So once you get the head coaching job, take me through and your staff and your vision and how you run a program. Are you one that likes to delegate? Are you one that likes to get your hands on? I would imagine you're handling the pitchers, but I mean, tell us how the staff works.
Yeah, definitely. I have an incredible staff. I feel like we all have different ideas here and there, and that's what makes us a great staff. But we have Coach George Araujo, who handles the defense. He is in it to win it. He is on it. He has phenomenal practice plans and just really has our defense up and going, different alignments and stuff like that. We have Jamie Juarez, who is our main hitting coach and definitely has a gap to gap philosophy. Buy-in is there, has really good practice plans to get their swings dialed. Then we have Trisha Senyo, who was a hire last year, does a lot of all of our technology side of things with just our synergy, blast motion. And then she is a BP pitcher guru. So the team just, hits and hits off of her. We get her nails done for her, wrap her finger when she needs it, but she's just phenomenal with that. And then I definitely, yeah, hold down the pitchers and catchers and work with them and practice plan with them every day, get their mentality set. And, obviously we have sports psychologists and really amazing student managers, a director of ops with Kat Cortez that just keeps us in line. But overall, I mean, just the staff is it's fun to come to work. And you have a staff in place that when you're excited to be at work every day because the days get long, you have the right people. And that's just really what I feel like on a day to day. I always joke with our recruits, you get, me, Coach Senyo, Coach Juarez, in our mom era. And then you get Coach George Araujo, who has done the father stuff, and now he is actually going to be a papa. So, you have all these
Wow.
experiences of things that we've been through that we just get to really, share with the team and remind them, softball is really important when we love it, but there's also life stuff that's also very powerful to be able to share and cover and make sure everybody, it feels that from us. The sport doesn't define us, but we just love it so much. We're all passionate about it, and winning is fun, but there's more to life than softball, and we try to, balance it all.
How much we've talked about and mentioned already about all the ties you have to the previous Fullerton coaches, all which is fast to me is one of the most fascinating notes I deal. How much of each of them is in you in your coaching style or philosophy, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, I think I take a little bit, not even just from the women that I listed, but just even, from my pro ball day coaches, my, USA team coaches, Coach Conjuria, Kirk Walker. I mean, there's so many that I feel like I've kind of been able to be around. But as far as, Judy Garman, I mean, she's the one that just started this place, right? Legendary. I mean, the stories that she shares, and she still will share them when she comes to different events. I mean, having to drag the field with her Corvette, and I mean, just really, really fun stories to see where it's been, where it's come from, and just her, just won't ever settle. Like she just always is like, what can we work on? How can we improve it more? And she keeps me on my toes with that. And I want to be just like that. And the relentless pursuit for just women in sports in general. Like that is, her mission. I feel like that's helped me a lot. Then you have, Coach Gramacki, who was just, she really taught me how detail is everything, right? If you don't have detail in what you're doing, you're missing it. And she was very meticulous on things. And I feel like that has definitely come out in me and just really, crossing your T's, dotting your I's, and the consistency is key. You don't know it in the moment, but like over time, right? That's when you're like, wow, that's what all those little things that we've been doing there, you're now seeing that, right? So then Coach Ford, I mean, just I always love this because my freshman year as a player here at Fullerton, she was my coach too. So that's a pretty cool fact. And she was always consistent, really consistent with who she was. Her energy was off the charts. I felt like it was just one of those things where it's like, that set the tone. And so for me, I really pride myself in knowing that, like, if I want my team to be able to sustain and keep a certain energy level, I have to be consistent with who I am. And I feel like I've really learned that from Coach Ford. She's always would be like, always be whistling and like, hey, handle it, like on to the next, or just really upbeat and positive. And so I definitely, got that from her and just really implement that on the day to day too with my own self and the team now. So
Kelly Ford, who was just recently named to the D1 softball all quarter century top 25 head coaches, mid majors of the century. You were named, along with Jenny Topping, among the best players and hitter of the quarter century. We put you, you got put in the hitting category, but you could have made a case you were the pitching category. You could have been a two-way category. By rule, we can only put you in one category. Which blew my mind about you, all right, was you're one of the few people I've ever seen where on the record books, you're in the top 10 and hold offensive records, but you also hold pitching records. Like you're the all-time, I believe, runs scored in program history. You're in the top 10 on a ton of offense guys. I feel like you were ahead of the curve because now we've realized that batting average isn't the end-all be-all, right? Especially if you're into the metrics with on base. I feel like you were that player that the batting average didn't tell you the story. You were more than beyond that. For those that didn't watch you play, how would you describe yourself as a player?
Yeah. Oh man, me as a player, my team's gonna laugh at this if they hear it, but I just was always the one mode mentality. And I literally tell that to them. It's like whatever I wanted to do, as long as I worked hard at it, like I knew I was athletic enough to figure it out. So whatever my team needed for the betterment of the team, if that was like when I wasn't pitching, I need to play third base, well then I'm gonna figure out third base and I'm gonna really be good at it. Second base, I think one year I played there when I wasn't pitching, and then my senior year coach was like, hey, we're going to need you in left field. So I'm like, all right, like whatever the team needs, I'm going to do. And so I think just really kudos to my parents, to be honest, of putting me in multiple sports. I'm a big advocate. And even with my own kids, like I just felt like my versatility was because I did soccer. I was a cheerleader in high school. I was really flexible because of that. I was always the base and lifting. And those day and ages, there was no like, lifting, but prior to college or anything like that. But when I really think about it, I'm like, wow, like being the base for cheerleading probably was giving me the strength to do what I did. And it's funny when you reflect like that. But yeah, multi-sport athlete, super athletic in that regard. And I think that just helped me all around and just in the circle, I just loved it. I loved competing. I loved striking people out. I was one time given the best compliment in the pro league, actually, when one of the players said, you really remind me of like a Greg Maddux. And I just was like super like efficient. Like if this is what was going to be called, like I knew I was going to hit the spot. Oh, you needed a couple inches off. Like I just had that mentality. I had the feel, and I just put the work in and really had the best coaches out there. So I loved it. I still love it. I still pitch bunting. I could give them my spins and try to,
Ooh,
yeah, make them work for it. So, yeah, I definitely get out there and show them my one mode mentality. That's for sure.
what's the most common question your players or maybe their parents have asked you about you as a player?
I think just kind of like what you said, they're just kind of, I think their jaw hits the floor when they're like, you did this and that. Like, how is that possible? And it's just it was possible because I knew I had what it took, and I wasn't willing to shy away from the extra work. If that meant me coming an extra hour early to get the reps in. I remember I would even sometimes have, some of the baseball players come and hit me extra balls, or if I needed, a coach to stay after, I would just ask them. And I knew it wasn't going to be in the 2.5, 3 hour practices to make me great. And when you have that mentality, like you're going to do well. Like, you may not do well all the time, but your hard work will eventually pay off. And that's just, my upbringing and just that mentality that I've always had from my parents as well. So
That being a two-way player, being able to hit, being able to pitch, play defense, like you said, I think you've played infield and outfield. How much of that has helped you from a coaching standpoint? Because you know the mindset of all three aspects of the game because you've experienced it as a player.
yeah, I feel like that I always knew that was gonna be like my, Jill of all trades, if you will, right? Like if I'm needed to be a defensive coach, I could do that. And that's honestly what I did after playing here in 2005 and 6 when I was coaching here. I ran the defense, right? Because we had Dee Dee Kingsbury here. But then being, back under Coach Ford for the year, pitching coach is what was needed. I'm very comfortable in that space. Honestly, I've done pitching lessons since I've been like 21 years old. So I know that like the back of my hand too. And so honestly, whatever is needed, if it was hitting, I love hitting too. So I think when I'm able to kind of, go around and watch different the practices when I'm not in the bullpen, and I can give a little feedback here and there, like I love doing it. So I don't overstep. I know my staff, like, they have it all. And so I don't need to do too much. But when I see little things, it just gets me giddy, and it reminds me of like, hey, I was an infielder too. Like, let me show you this footwork or try this. So I love doing it, but definitely like trust my staff in the sense that I don't have to do that. I stay in my bullpen most of the time, but for right now, anyways.
You mentioned Coach Toppin. You got her to convinced her to get into college coaching. We just had her on the podcast
Mhm.
a little recently ago. Obviously now at Oregon State with Laura Berg, her Olympic teammate. Well, how did you talk her into getting back into coaching?
Yeah, I think just we were going back and forth that she was moving down to SoCal, and I said, you have too much to give, for the sport, right? You have to give back. I think she's got so much knowledge, and really her mentality has really evolved in the sense that, her biggest thing, and I still say to this day, and it was ingrained in me from last year, is just like stand in your personal power, be authentic to yourself, lead with love, and you can't go wrong when you have that kind of mindset. And so to know her as a player and have her as my catcher, and then to see her last year, in this space, it was just really cool to see. A lot of it's just what you're thinking up here, right? When the players come to Cal State Fullerton, they are physically equipped. It's now the belief, it's the internal piece that how do you connect both of those? And I would say she is really good at that. And so just reminding her like this sport needs her, she belongs. And to see her at Oregon State, I know she's going to thrive there too. It's just, I'd love to see it. I love to see all my teammates, Jody Cox, obviously too, at Cal State Northridge, and a lot of other people, right? It's just, I love it, women staying in the sport.
Topping probably still underrated, I feel like. I mean, she was on that dream team in '04,
Yeah.
gold medal. I would make the case she's the greatest Titan ever. If you look at her resume, they've got a lot of options. You're included in the conversation, but man, I agree with you. It's good to have her back in the sport because I think people underestimate what and maybe don't appreciate what an amazing player she was. And I
Mhm.
know, and it was cool to have her back. And so really pretty awesome you all were able to bring her back, even though she moved on to Oregon State. But hey, that's all good. There's plenty of space there. You mentioned Jody. You mentioned Big West.
Mhm.
Uh, every time I go home from covering a game or calling a game, I'm putting on ESPN Plus, and it's a Big West is on, and it's chaos. That feels like it's been the case the last couple of years. Describe the Big West because I think the conference tournament in a lot of ways proved again how the parity of it, where Santa Barbara and CSUN are battling now for the championship. And I would imagine it's going to be no different this year on the depth of the league.
Yeah, no, it's always going to be a dogfight. I mean, we have incredible coaches in the Big West. I mean, it's always going to be a good conference. We're always going to be, fighting for that number one spot. And now with the conference tournament, I mean, you saw it, right? Obviously, we got the short end of the stick and didn't make it to the the final. And that's, where we got to get hungry and get to that space. But I think, for the overall experience and the athletes being able to have something to fight for until that very end with that tournament, I think it's pretty special. I actually had that model when I was at the Claremont colleges, and I was on the other end when we were the fourth place team coming into that weekend, and we won the tournament and got to go on. So I see both ways of it. Of course, last year would I've wanted not to have the tournament, and we won the Big West outright, and we got to go. Of course, I'm going to say that, right? But I think the overall conference tournament, you got to show up on that weekend and do some work, and that's really how postseason is, right? You got to be consistent in those moments that really matter, and so the Big West is going to be a dogfight. It always is, and I'm looking forward to it.
How strange is it going to be when you play Long Beach State not to see Kim Souter in the dugout?
Yeah, it's gonna be really strange, because she was there when I was,
Right?
coming up, and what just what a legacy she's left there, and definitely have had some conversations out recruiting when I was, last summer, and just really knowledgeable. So definitely gonna miss her there. not seeing her in the dugout, and same with Panita, but obviously she's over at Hawaii now, so still within the Big West this year. But Kendall met her a couple summers ago. She's gonna be a really good coach for them, bringing a lot of good talent. So definitely can't underestimate Long Beach State and any of the schools in the Big West, because just the coaching is there, and they're going to get talent. I mean, who doesn't want to be in Southern California in this weather and being close to a lot of cool attractions? And so, yeah, it's always going to be a competitive conference.
What advice would you give her as somebody who's followed that? You took over for a legend. She's taken over for a legend. I know it's a little different, but she's in a similar shoes that you were in a year ago.
Yeah.
How do you do that? Because on the one hand, you're respecting the history, the tradition, and what they built. On the other hand, you have to be yourself.
Yeah. I mean, that you just said it. You have all these people that have poured into you, mentored you, got you to where you are now. Obviously, you're taking over as the leader, and now figuring out like, hey, what works for you? What are your systems? What do you like to see? What do you think could be better, and how can I change it? And it might not change overnight, but over time, and you keep preaching and going through your philosophies and knowing what your non-negotiables are, knowing what your expectations are, and really having that concrete and knowing your mission statement is just is really going to be it. And so for somebody like Kendall and any first year coming in, it's just like, yeah, you gotta own what it is, have it written down, and read it as often as you need to, and stick to it, because it's just real easy to kind of be like going down other paths. But if you're matter of fact with it'll stick and stay, and people will follow it.
Scheduling. What's unique about your situation, because we've had Coach Ford on, is you're responsible for hosting some of the most important tournaments in the sport. Literally, Judy Garvin is a monster tournament. You host some monster tournaments opening weekends, or most years anyway, on the years, and it's big because you're drawing marquee teams, but you're also trying to improve your resume. A couple of years ago, Fullerton got in as an at large, for example,
Right.
in that deal. So just what has that been like for you to kind of handle the scheduling standpoint, beyond just getting your team prepared? But there's also these expectations of, hey, what is who's Fullerton hosting this year in tournaments? Because people have high expectations on that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we want to play the best of the best, right? If you want to be the best, you want to make it deep in postseason. You can't shy away from teams that are going to be there. They've been there, day in and day out the last few years. So you're wanting to schedule that, and so being able to host an Easton Classic and the Judy Garmin, where people are wanting to come to our facilities, obviously play, on the West Coast, typically good weather, knock on wood. Sometimes it's not always the best, but for the most part, it is good weather. It's just always going to be that. And so it's very prestigious, the Judy Garmin. We have quite a few teams that, clearly are the best that are coming this year. We're actually going second weekend to Stanford too, and playing, Stanford, Oregon, Kentucky. So we want to play those teams, right? RPI does matter. And if we could, get some of those wins early on, and our first tournament, Judy Garmin, second weekend in Stanford, and then in the Judy Garmin Classic, I mean, that's in the Mary Nutter, like that's where we need to be, right? So we're going to continue to schedule like that. We want to play those teams and get us ready for when we face them in the postseason.
Well, I got the notification ready when that's scheduled, because that's usually one of the things I look for, is who's you're hosting and who else is in your tournaments.
Yeah.
Because that's always must see. What extra pride that you hosted the first Big West tournament? Even I know it didn't go the way you would have liked, but still, you always be the first to say you hosted the first inaugural Big West tournament. And where is it going to be at this year?
Yeah, so we have it for this year as well. So
Oh, okay,
we're
there you go. 2 year
yeah, and
deal.
then it's Long Beach State, I want to say the following year. So that's kind of already in the works that way. And I mean, yeah, we take a lot of pride in that. I think we have an amazing administration that pours into Titan softball. Our facilities are top notch. I think we have an amazing grounds crew that does a phenomenal job. Not sure if you know, but we have two fields here at Cal
Yep.
State Fullerton. And so to be able to, whether it's a warm up space, or if we, when we host our tournaments, obviously we utilize both fields. And so that's how we're able to host a lot of teams to come here. And so, yeah, we have the facilities to do it. We have the exposure with the ESPN Plus, and just the technology side, and now this year we're getting the double base. Obviously, we're just always staying up with what it is that we need to do. That's what our admin does, and I can't thank them enough for the support that we're given. And so yeah, we definitely will be hosting this year, and we plan to win it. So that's the goal.
What did you learn from the conference tournament, just from being a host of it, not talking about the on the field? What did you, from a host as a coach? Because, that's part of the, when you're hosting a conference tournament, you're going to make sure everybody's taken care of. Granted, it's no different than a regular tournament, I would imagine, making sure everybody's taken care of. But what did you take away from that first year now as you go for a second year hosting the tournament?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the takeaway is just we have awesome, commissioner with the Big West and Cheryl Wong over there. I mean, she does a great job and her staff. So they were definitely here helping facilitate a lot of things, whatever it is that whether we needed extra tees, more balls. I mean, our conference is on it. And so as far as, just those logistics, that was kind of in their control. But as far as, being a good host and making sure things are run smoothly, our grounds crew is on it. Of course, we had tons of meetings beforehand and making sure our admin is on board with everything that's needed. And so it was definitely, everybody all hands on deck, and to come together like that. And it can only get better, right? And even having a debriefing meeting after, okay, what could have been better, or was it good? There was all these surveys and polls, so everybody's on it. They want it what's best for the student athletes, and we're seeing that. And I think this year will be even better. So.
Well, we look forward to that, but there's still a long ways to go before we get to that point. And this will be my last question as you kind of the fall unfolds, and then before you know it, the season will get underway. What are some things you're looking forward to finding about this group, this particular team, that you think will be the keys in 2026?
Yeah, I'm definitely looking at my upperclassmen now. I'm going to look at my leadership and just help me paint the picture of what that was like last year to have such an amazing season and to fall short like we did. That's not the Titan way. That's not what we plan to do. And so, how can we on the day to day master those habits that reflect what we want to correlate at the end of the season, right? We can't just expect to turn it on in late April and May. I mean, those habits are built now. And so already seeing that as a staff and just making sure, us as coaches are here to remind them of how that continues to go. Because the second we don't, mediocrity happens, right? And that's not what we are. We don't want to be average. That's not what the alumni expect from us. That's not what the coaching staff and the prior coaches that have been here expect. And so we plan to stay at the top of our game. And that's every day, just choosing to, be on a mission and not just come to practice just to get through it. It's to get better and just have that mentality of like, we get to do this. We get to play this amazing game of softball every single day, take it all in and just appreciate it. So that's definitely the team mantra, and I'm seeing it. So it's awesome.
Well, Coach, I look forward to seeing your team play. Thanks for doing this. Your first appearance of many, I hope, on the podcast. Awesome to get to know you, and like I said, appreciate you taking the time. I know it's a busy time as you get with the fall and get ready for the season. Congrats on all the success you've had to this point as a player, and you're starting out your head coaching career. Good luck this season, and thanks for talking to us here on In the Circle of D1 Softball.
Yeah, thank you so much, Eric. Thanks for having me.